Don't ask, don't tell, don't pursue, don't harass. A military policy leading to discharges, witch hunts, and homophobia relating to the U.S. military's bisexual and homosexual service members. This legal policy, instituted by the Clinton administration and Department of Defense, went into effect on October 1, 1993. The objective of the policy was to lift a total ban on homosexuals in military service, but still restrict any homosexual acts or openness.
We must and will protect unit cohesion and troop morale. We must and will continue to have the best fighting force in the world.
But they are a risk because of the possibility that their particular characteristic, whatever it may be, can become a disintegrating factor in terms of unit cohesion.
This compromise between President Clinton, who made a campaign promise to lift the ban, and leading military personnel who resisted, left gay and lesbian service members worse off than simply quietly lying under the previous total ban.
On my application, it said, "Are you a practicing homosexual?" And I decided I could morally say no, because I'm not practicing. I have perfected it. I know how to do it. And so I wasn't lying.
Any upset to military culture causes ripples. As told by Stephen Snyder Hill in his autobiography, the possibility that there could be gays in the military was planted into people's consciousness, and with that came suspicion. This new homophobic untrust caused innocent questions about whether one has got a wife waiting at home to turn into a matter of unquenched suspicion.
In a July 19, 1993 press conference, President Clinton announced a new policy to conflicting reactions within the public and the military. A clash between homophobia and angry LGBT rights groups began.
The policy is more aptly called "Let's Pretend." Let's pretend gay people simply don't exist, even though we know they do. Let's put our fingers in our ears and our patches over our eyes.
The feeling is very negative, and it would bring the morale down in the military, as far as I'm concerned. From the people that I work with, they don't feel that they could trust a homosexual.
A.J. Bosovich in a cover story claimed there is other more important work to be done, missions to accomplish, training to be conducted, events to prepare for, work substantially more germane to the well-being of the unit and, for that matter, to the boss's prospects for advancement than the mounting witch hunts to ferret out homosexuals. But regardless of public opinion or protests, the policy was approved and enacted.
The logistics of the policy were heavily debated by the Department of Defense, with Clinton implying that one can be openly homosexual as long as one does not act on it, and the Defense Secretary Les Aspin contradictingly claiming that being open regarding sexuality would result in investigation.
Someone tells someone who tells a commanding officer, that's not homosexual conduct. That's no reason to initiate an investigation. Yet Secretary Aspin just said that there is reason to do so.
Senator, in the policy, conduct is defined as statements.
The actual policy consisted of 3 main points. 1. The member has engaged in, attempted to engage in, or solicited another to engage in a homosexual act or acts. 2. The member states that he or she is a homosexual or bisexual. Or 3. The member has married or attempted to marry someone of the same sex.
Even with the policy in place, the Service Members Legal Defense Network documented 15 cases of successful or attempted witch hunts reported within only the first year of the policy, and these are only the ones reported. Other reported instances of the military violating their own policy numbered at 340 within the same year. In terms of actual discharges, not just harassment via questioning or dealing with homophobia, information provided by the Defense Manpower Data Center counted 9,488 service members that were separated for homosexual conduct in the first 10 years of the law.
After years of suffering under the policy, a second wave of protesting began in 2010.
I deserve full equality. Full equality. Right here. Right here. Right now. Right now. I am somebody. I am somebody. I deserve full equality. I deserve
On March 18th, protesters chained themselves to the White House fence as a crowd cheered them on, led by 2 Iraq War veterans who were dismissed under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. With their arrests, the movement for repeal began once again.
In our Constitution, I thought the Constitution was ultimate. I thought equality was non-negotiable.
Finally, on December 15, 2010, a bill for repeal made it through both the House of Representatives and the Senate. President Barack Obama had fulfilled his 2008 campaign promise to end the discriminatory policy. The vote itself was fairly uneventful, except for the threat of a GOP filibuster that was soon overturned by a supermajority in the Senate procedural voting, 63 to 33. Soon, the Senate passed the repeal 65 to 31. The House of Representatives had already voted in favor of repealing with a vote of 250 to 175. The repeal went into effect after being reviewed by the Department of Defense on September 20, 2011. After 17 years of witch hunts, more than 13,000 service members dismissed, and hundreds of protests, the barrier that was Don't Ask, Don't Tell had been broken.
The initial impact of the repeal was removing the ability to discharge people for sexuality. At the time of the repeal, widespread homophobia had already diminished, as a Pentagon study found that 2/3 of service members didn't predict any major impact from changing the policy. While homophobia was still there, most specifically reported in the Marine Corps and Army combat units, the change in policy allowed service members to openly appeal against discrimination. One case of this is DOMA, or the Defense of Marriage Act, a federal law that defined marriage as the union of one man and one woman, allowing states, workplaces, and the military to ignore marriages between same-sex couples. In the military, this meant no housing allowances, yellow ribbon ceremonies, nor sponsored retreats and counseling. With a new ability for service members to appeal and protest, this law was amended to cover gay marriage.
The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell wasn't also just a step for equality, it also saved unnecessary millions in military spending. According to the Government Accountability Office, who estimated that over 10 years, recruiting replacements for service members separated under the policy could have cost the Department of Defense about $95 million. Thanks to these years of fighting and protesting, the social acceptance of homosexuals would only grow, not only in the military. The repeal allowed the movement of marriage equality to have credibility of those who had fought to protect the country.
For the very first time, gay, lesbian, and bisexual service members were able to serve their country without compromising their identities. For the first time, veteran parades included pride groups. The thousands that were discharged under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy of discrimination were finally given justice.
For we are not a nation that says, don't ask, don't tell. We are a nation that says, out of many, we are one. We are a nation that welcomes the service of every patriot. We are a nation that believes that all men and women are created equal. Those are the ideals that generations have fought for. Those are the ideals that we uphold today.
Part of our Army culture is just the importance of military family. And the fact that I was able to have my military family in the front row, there with me, supporting me in the role, following the tradition of participating with my dad, promoting me, it was just absolutely fantastic. I felt full, authentic, and complete performing that ceremony with my family.
When a simple repeal ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a door was opened for progress in a nationwide fight for equality.